Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my My Hero Academia Chapter 302 read-through. Now this is a continuation of the last episode, which was the full Toya backstory, as this is Careless Handling of Fire Part 2. So we pick up the night of Toya attacking Shoto, with Midoriya's narration of, after the incident, Shoto's siblings were banned from interacting with him. I have to work, so I can't keep looking after him, which is why I've hired someone else. Keep your eye on Toya. That kid just wants your acknowledgement. I can't show him anything but a world of a hero. Hero? Some hero you are, running away. We get to see that Ray blames Endeavor for Toya attacking Shoto, or at least it's insinuated that because of his inability to actually talk to Toya, he's responsible for what Toya's done. And again, we're seeing the first signs of her mental break, and this even shocks Endeavor. We then jump forward 5 years, so Toya is age 13, which means I was incorrect in how old I had him last episode, cause Fuyumi is 12, which I actually, after the last episode, I went back and looked at a scrapped video idea I had, where I was going to, before I knew this was happening, try and fill in the blanks for Toya's backstory, and I'd marked it down as Toya could only be 1 or 2 years older than Fuyumi. I don't know why I said he was, what was it, 5 years older? But yeah, he's 1 year older than Fuyumi and 5 years older than Natsuo. And this is actually a scene that we've seen before, or more an expansion on that scene, because Toya, he's in his room playing at his computer when Natsuo and Fuyumi open the door and they're like, "Hey, Toyani, let's play." And then we get the scene that we'd seen before of the 3 siblings playing kickball with the woman that Endeavor hired to look after Toya, while Endeavor's dragging Shoto to training. He says, "Do not look at them, Shoto. You live in a different world from them." "Just once, okay? I just want to play with them once." "No. You need more endurance training." And we actually see that, while at the same time that Shoto noticed his siblings playing out in the yard, one of his siblings noticed him and gave him a glare. One could almost call it an evil glare. And then fast forward to nighttime again, no time frame given, where Toya and Natsuo, they're having a sleepover, and Toya's saying, "Of course I was wrong there. Shoto had done nothing wrong. But Dad was right. He doesn't even look at us. We're failures to him." How amazing. Is this the modern day hero? Deciding their sons are useless and ditching them? Why can't you rant to Big Sis once in a while? Are you ignoring me too, Natsu-kun? Don't do this to me. I'm talking to you because only you can understand me. You know that the girls in this house wouldn't understand. So, it seems that I'm going based off this this final speech bubble saying the girls wouldn't understand that Fuyumi was never intended to be trained. Like, there was no training between her and Endeavor. It seems like Natsuo was a viable candidate, but then was found out he didn't have the right quirk. I'm pretty sure he has an ice quirk. And so it was only Toya that got trained until his quirk started injuring him, and Shoto. So even Natsuo wouldn't understand. He'd be more similar to Fuyumi than Toya. We fast forward to daytime, and Rei's talking to Toya, trying to stop him from leaving the house. Wait, you're planning on going to the hill again. Why don't you play with your friends or... I don't need friends. We're in different worlds. Toya, do you really want to become a hero that badly? To your mother, you look like you're in pain, so obsessed with your father. Toya, the world is much larger than just heroes. You can do anything. Look at everything else around you, not just your father. Find the person you really want to be in this world. Rei actually, she's the one who is able to talk the most reasonably to Toya. She's the one who's actually talking to Toya, I mean, because Endeavor's not talking to him. Natsuo has no idea how to comment on all this. He refuses to talk to Fuyumi, so the only one who can talk to him about it is Rei. But this doesn't actually go down too well, because hearing that there's so much more in the world, you can be anything, it angers Toya. He says, "What would you know, Mom? You think Dad's the only person that got me going? Your family was poor, so they sold you away, and you had no say in the matter. Isn't that why I was born in the first place? You had a part in this too, Mom." Now, this is the exact moment that Toya turned into Darby. It wasn't the night he got burned. It wasn't when he attacked Shoto 5 years prior to this. It was this moment, when he snapped at the only person who was actually looking out for him in a reasonable way. Once he severed that, there was no coming back for him. Also, what he said was wrong, because we learnt in the last chapter that Rei comes from a well-established family. Like, she wasn't poor. She wasn't sold away. She did have a say in the matter. He was right about that being the reason he was born, though, but... Anyway, we get a little bit of Midoriya's narration, where he says, "His fire wouldn't be put out. Toya's 13th winter. The small body he was born with began to grow rapidly with puberty. Alongside his own body's changes, his flames changed from red to blue in color. We see Toya in the same training area we saw him in the end of last episode, and, well, for one, he seems to have burnt through his shirt, and two, he's managed to set all of the training dummies on fire, not just the 2 or 3 we could see in the last one. So that's it. It's because of my body's composition. The fire is directly connected to intense emotions. Amazing. If I can do this, then Dad will definitely be surprised too. But shoot, when I get all excited, for some reason I end up crying." It then jumps from the hill back to the Endeavor the Todoroki household, And Darby says to Endeavour, "Dad, during the holiday break coming up, come to Sokoto Hill." Endeavour understands what this means, so he grabs Toya and he looks at his body to see that there are burns across his torso, and it looks to be a little on his arms as well. Burns. He must have been training somewhere he couldn't be seen. "You're still... Something incredible happened. You have to come see. I think Shoto's got some serious competition. Well, I'm not sure if it's enough against All Might yet, though. But it's something you have to see, Dad. And then you'll realize I wasn't a mistake." As he's saying this, his expression and the speech bubbles get more and more crazed, and at the end of it, he's even pulling his own hair out. And this panel of him pulling his hair out is the one we saw a couple chapters back. Anyway, we fast forward to, I think this is nighttime again, and now I'm not entirely happy with the implications of this panel, because if this is what it implies to be, then all of this redeeming of Endeavor's character at this point in the story has been soured massively for me, because there's a panel of Ray on the ground, Endeavor standing over her angrily, saying, "Why didn't you stop him, Ray? You were supposed to watch him." And Shoto standing between them saying, "Don't bully Mum. Stop it. Stop bullying her." So the implications of this panel is that Endeavor either hit Ray to knock her down or he pushed her down. Neither of those are okay with me, and as I said, if that is what happened, that has seriously soured all this redeeming of the character. Anyway, the scene continues with, "Shoto, get out! This doesn't involve you." We see that Fuyumi and Natsuo are huddled up in one of their bedrooms, close together, trying to block out all the noise. And Ray, she's snapping. She thinks at what Toya said. "What would you know, Mom? There may have been limited options for me, but I was the one who ultimately made the choice. I intended to at least smile through it to the end, yet I can't stop him." We then jump forward to present day Ray saying, "And then you didn't go. He didn't show up. Stupid tears." It would have just fanned the flames, or rather. "Damn it." "I don't know. I don't know how to talk to him." "Dad, neither did I." I was switching between the parents and Toya because there's a sliver of Ray, then Toya at the hill, then a sliver of Endeavor, and then Toya at the hill, then a sliver of Endeavor again, then a close-up of Toya's face where his tears are turning into flames, and then there's the sliver of Ray at the end. We then see that those flames that Darby was crying suddenly ignited from his entire body, scorching the surrounding area, setting the forest on fire. That was scorching hot. He thought, "They won't stop my flame." You reap what you sow, I guess. After all, the only thing he taught me was how to turn up the heat. We see that the hill that Darby was training at was visible from the Todoroki household, and once it ignited, Endeavor obviously took note and ran to the hill, but when he got there, nothing was left of the training area or any signs of Toya. If I had just given up on it all that day, after everything, after killing Toya, I couldn't let myself take a step back, and all I could do was obsess over Shoto. Toya disappeared and you gradually got worse. I was frightened, and even with the kids I started to see your image in them. So, here's the thing. I thought in the last chapter, after learning about Toya's mental break, I thought back to when Shoto was telling Midoriya about the day he was scarred. And it was implied in the manga that it was Endeavor that your left side is so much like him. I can't do it anymore. Every day the kids are reminding me more and more of him. It was heavily implied that she was referring to Endeavor. In fact, the anime even goes further with this, saying that I think she said our kids are looking more and more like Endeavor. I think she actually names Endeavor or says his father, but that's not actually said in the manga. I went back and checked. So it could very well be that she was seeing Toya in Shoto's left side. Anyway, back to the panel. So, I knew you were broken, but I was too scared to approach you. I was all talk and nothing else. You brought this all on yourself. You're the root of it all, but I wonder if I had just made myself face Toyoni and knock some sense into him. Maybe Darby wouldn't have been born. He could have even treated Shoto to some cold soba. The responsibilities for this doesn't just fall onto you. The issue is all of ours to bear. Except for Shoto, he was literally a baby at the time. Even if our hearts are shattered, we'll get up and stand tall. You have no choice but to fight Darby, our child who was put through so much pain, more than us, who had every right to resent me. He called me his mother again. He made friends at UA and connected us all again. Shoto is becoming our family's very own hero. Before coming here, I talked to Mom. I didn't think you would be able to fight anymore, and that I'd have to do it myself, but that doesn't seem to be the case. When you're done crying, get up, and we'll all go stop Toyoni together. Now this is a big scene for Shoto, because he's the one reaching a hand out for Endeavor. Like, him and Natsuo, even in the Endeavor training arc, Endeavor Agency arc, he still wasn't entirely okay with Endeavor. And now he's the one reaching out for him. The last panel of this chapter is us cutting out into the hallway outside of Endeavor's room, where we see Hawks and Bestgenus had been listening in on this conversation. And Hawks is showing something to Bestgenus on his phone, though we can't actually see what it is. Okay, so that was a interesting chapter. Basically, it ended pretty much how I thought the backstory was going to end, with Darby's cremation being the reason that he died, and it was because he was training without Endeavor. And I do like, in this chapter, we get something said by every single Todoroki, because the main of it is Endeavor and Ray. We get the little bit of Shoto at the end. We get the one panel of Fuyumi talking, the 2 panels of Natsuo, we obviously get Toya talking, and we get a cameo from Darby. So we get all of the Todorokis in this chapter. I am going to separate Darby and Toya into 2 separate entities for the sake of this, because it is entirely possible that by the end of this manga that Darby will be Toya again. So it's best to separate the entities. Like I try and separate Endeavor and Enji. I don't do it successfully, but I try. Anyway, yeah, not much to add on to this chapter because I did my comments as I was saying it, but yeah, I'm really hoping that this panel was not Endeavor hitting Ray. What I'm hoping it was, as bad as that would be, would have been, say, Shoto and Ray were in Shoto's room. She was sitting next to him, maybe reading him a story, maybe just holding on to her son, and when Endeavor burst in, started yelling at Ray, Shoto jumped up and Ray just toppled over from Shoto's sudden movement. I'm hoping that's what it is, because as I said, if it is what it implies it is, then this was pointless for me. Like, I know in the anime, at least in the English dub, they actually, when Shoto is on his knees with the puke from being trained too hard, and Ray is coming in to try and talk Endeavor into easing up on him a little, the English dub, it added a sound effect for a slap. Now, I don't remember that sound effect ever actually being in the manga. I don't remember if it was in the in the Japanese dub, not dub, sub. I watched it and stuff. But yeah, I don't remember if it was in the Japanese. I don't think it was in the manga. I think that was an English only thing. But yeah, we have no actual confirmation that Endeavor physically abused any of his family. Like, yes, he was training Shoto harshly, but we never actually see him land a strike on Shoto. That scene where he was training him seemed like he was working his body too much, to the point that exhaustion just caused him to vomit, which, yeah, it happens. If you push your body too much, you're going to vomit. And that's what I read that chapter as. Not as in Endeavor had punched him in the stomach in their training and he spewed up his guts. So, we don't have any confirmation that Endeavor physically abused his family. We do have him mentally abusing them through neglect or overbearing anger. So there's that, but there was never the physical aspect. So if this is what it was, then I can't see them redeeming his backstory. Like, sure, he's a different person now, but what was the point in making him such a three-dimensional character, then to turn him into a wife beater as well? Like, I don't understand if that's what the thing is. I know I'm focusing too much on this, but yeah, I feel like if that's what it is, then it shouldn't be what it is. Anyway, I have nothing else to say. Anything I would say is just me rambling more and more about that one specific panel, so I'm going to end this here. If you guys enjoyed the chapter and noticed any details that I didn't mention, or noticed that what I was mentioning may have been something different, comment them down below. I'd love to talk to you guys about this, and I'll catch you in the next one.